Welcome to Lesson 4.3 of the Grant Architect course, where we dive into the heart of your program design. In this lesson, we focus on activities, the second component of the logic model, and perhaps the most tangible part of your program description. Activities describe exactly what your program will do with the resources identified as inputs. This is where your program comes to life on paper, where resources get transformed into services, events, and interventions that serve participants. Think of activities as the engine of your program that converts investment into action. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe activities with appropriate specificity that helps reviewers understand exactly what will happen, connect activities to both the inputs that enable them and the outputs they produce, and ensure your activities logically lead to your intended outcomes through a clear causal pathway. Strong activity descriptions distinguish competitive proposals from vague promises. Activities are the actions taken to produce outputs and achieve outcomes for your program participants. They represent what your program actually does on a day-to-day basis, the interventions that create meaningful change in people's lives. Different funders may call these strategies, interventions, methods, or services depending on their field and preferences, but they all refer to the same concept of program actions. The function of activities is to transform inputs into outputs through deliberate effort. Staff time becomes counseling sessions provided to participants. Curriculum becomes training delivered in workshop settings. Facilities become services accessible to the community you serve. Activities are the conversion mechanism that turns resources into results. The character of activities is fundamentally action-oriented in nature. They should be described with active verbs: provide, deliver, conduct, train, counsel, screen, educate, support, and facilitate. Activities are things you actively do for and with participants, not things you hope will happen or things that passively occur. This action orientation helps reviewers understand your program approach. Activities fall into several distinct types that serve different functions in your program design. Direct services are interventions provided directly to participants who will benefit from your program. Counseling sessions, training workshops, health screenings, case management, tutoring, and support groups are all direct services. These are the core activities that produce outcomes for participants and represent the primary reason your program exists. Indirect services support the delivery of direct services without directly touching participants themselves. Curriculum development, staff training and professional development, quality assurance activities, and partnership coordination enable direct services to happen effectively and at high quality. Outreach activities recruit and engage participants to bring them into your program. Marketing campaigns, community presentations, referral development with partners, and enrollment processes bring people into your program who need services. Without effective outreach, even excellent direct services may not reach those who need them most. Administrative activities manage and coordinate the overall program operations. Supervision, data collection and analysis, reporting, and fiscal management ensure the program operates effectively. These are necessary but should not dominate your logic model or budget. Describing activities clearly requires attention to several critical dimensions that help reviewers understand your program approach. Specificity means stating exactly what you will do in concrete operational terms. Not help with employment, but provide resume writing workshops for participants. Not offer counseling, but deliver 8 sessions of cognitive behavioral therapy focused on anxiety management. Vague activities are difficult for reviewers to evaluate and suggest unclear program thinking. Frequency indicates how often activities occur over your project period. Weekly sessions, monthly workshops, or daily check-ins each represent different engagement models. Frequency affects both your resource requirements and the likely strength of outcomes you can achieve. Duration describes how long each instance of an activity lasts when delivered. 2-hour workshops, 50-minute counseling sessions, or semester-long courses all represent different commitments. Duration combined with frequency determines total participant exposure to your intervention. Intensity refers to dosage or depth of the activity and how much change it can produce. A light-touch informational session differs dramatically from intensive skill-building training in what it can accomplish. More intensive activities typically require more resources but may produce stronger and more lasting outcomes. Selecting activities should follow clear criteria to ensure you choose the right interventions for your program context. Evidence base asks whether research supports this activity with documented results. Evidence-based practices have demonstrated effectiveness through rigorous evaluation. Using proven approaches increases likelihood of achieving your outcomes and satisfies funders seeking evidence-informed programs. Feasibility questions whether you can actually implement the activity with your available resources and capacity. An activity might be evidence-based but requires specialized expertise you lack or resources beyond your budget. Activities must be realistically implementable in your context. Appropriateness considers whether the activity is suitable for your specific target population and community. An intervention proven effective with suburban adults might not work for rural youth with different circumstances. Cultural appropriateness, literacy requirements, language considerations, and physical accessibility all matter for program success. Logical connection asks whether the activity will plausibly produce your intended outcomes through a clear pathway. There should be a clear theory for why this specific activity leads to that particular outcome. If the connection is not evident to reviewers, your logic model has a gap that needs addressing. Activities must connect clearly to inputs to demonstrate you have the resources needed for implementation. Resource requirements specify what inputs each activity needs to be delivered effectively. Map every activity to the resources it will consume during implementation. This mapping ensures you have identified all necessary inputs and helps significantly with budget development and justification. Staff allocation identifies which personnel conduct each activity in your program. The project director might oversee administration and reporting. Case managers might deliver counseling and case management services. Trainers might conduct educational workshops. Each activity should have clearly assigned staff responsible for its delivery. Facility needs indicate where each activity occurs and what space requirements exist. Counseling might happen in private offices for confidentiality. Group sessions might need conference rooms with adequate capacity. Community outreach might require mobile capacity to reach people where they are. Match your facilities to the activities you plan to deliver. Material usage identifies what supplies support each activity during implementation. Training might require curricula and participant handouts. Screening might need testing supplies and documentation forms. Outreach might use promotional materials and informational brochures. Connect all materials to specific activities that will use them. Activities must connect clearly to outputs to show what your program actually produces through its work. Direct products identify what each activity produces as a result of your efforts. A training workshop produces trained participants who completed the course. An outreach event produces contacts made with potential participants. A counseling program produces sessions delivered to clients seeking services. Each activity should have identifiable products that can be documented and reported. Countable results specify what can be measured from the activity you conduct. Number of workshops conducted, hours of counseling provided, materials distributed, and people screened are all countable outputs. If you cannot count it, it is extremely hard to track for reporting purposes. Participant reach indicates how many people each activity touches during your program period. Some activities serve many people lightly through brief contacts, while others serve fewer people intensively through extended engagement. Understanding reach patterns helps set realistic output targets for your proposal. Completion metrics tell you how you know the activity happened and can be documented. What documentation demonstrates the activity actually occurred as planned? Sign-in sheets, session notes, case files, and distribution logs provide evidence of activity completion that you can report. Distinguishing core from supporting activities clarifies your program design and helps reviewers understand where their investment will go. Core activities directly produce participant outcomes through direct engagement with the people you serve. These are the interventions that change knowledge, behavior, or conditions for your target population. Training that builds skills, counseling that changes behavior, and services that improve conditions are all core activities. Supporting activities enable core activities to succeed but do not directly serve participants. Staff training improves service quality. Partnership development expands reach. Quality assurance ensures fidelity. These matter but should not overshadow core activities. Balance requires that most resources support core activities. If your logic model has extensive supporting activities but minimal core activities, your program may appear administratively heavy. Funders want to see their investment going into direct services. Clarity requires distinguishing which activities are which in your presentation. In your logic model and narrative, be clear about what directly serves participants versus what supports program infrastructure. Implementation details flesh out how activities will actually happen in practice and help reviewers assess feasibility. Who specifies which staff or partners implement each activity with clear role assignments? Named roles should connect to specific activities they will deliver. The case manager will conduct intake assessments with new participants. The trainer will deliver educational workshops on life skills. Partner staff will provide referrals from their client base. What provides specific activity descriptions with enough detail to understand implementation? Not just counseling, but individual cognitive behavioral therapy sessions addressing anxiety management for adolescents. Sufficient detail allows reviewers to understand exactly what will happen during your program. When addresses timeline and sequencing of activities across your project period, some activities happen throughout the project continuously. Others occur in phases or stages. Some must precede others due to dependencies. Show how activities fit together over time in a logical sequence, where identifies location of delivery for each activity type. Activities might occur at your facility, at partner sites, in community locations convenient for participants, or virtually through technology. Location affects participant accessibility and may require different resource configurations. Evidence-based activities have particular significance in grant writing. By definition, these are activities with research demonstrating effectiveness. They have been tested and shown to work under rigorous evaluation conditions. Sources for evidence-based activities include evidence clearinghouses like What Works Clearinghouse, Blueprints, and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration Registry, as well as peer-reviewed research documenting intervention effectiveness. Fidelity requires implementing the activity as designed to achieve documented results. Evidence-based programs come with implementation guidelines. Deviating from these guidelines may reduce effectiveness. Fidelity monitoring ensures you implement as intended. Adaptation balances fidelity with cultural appropriateness. Some adaptation may be necessary for your population or context. Document what you adapt and why, maintaining core components while adjusting surface features. Presenting activities effectively in logic models requires thoughtful design. Grouping organizes related activities into categories rather than listing every discrete action. Categories like direct services, outreach, and training group related activities logically. Action language uses active verbs consistently. Provide counseling, conduct workshops, deliver outreach, and facilitate groups all use active construction. Passive or nominal forms are harder to understand. Appropriate detail provides enough information to understand activities without overwhelming the visual. Major activity categories with brief descriptions work better than exhaustive lists. Visual flow shows how activities connect to inputs on one side and outputs on the other. The logic model should make clear that inputs enable activities and activities produce outputs. Several common mistakes undermine activity descriptions. Too vague activities are described so generally that they cannot be evaluated. Provide support or help participants is too vague. What specific support? Help how? Be concrete. Disconnected activities are not clearly linked to outcomes. If your activities do not plausibly lead to your stated outcomes, the logic model fails. Every activity should connect to an outcome pathway. Unrealistic activity lists include more than resources can support. A limited budget and small staff cannot implement a dozen major activities. Scope activities to match resources. Outputs confused as activities mistake counting for doing. Serve 200 clients is an output, not an activity. What will you do with those clients? The activity is the service provided, not the numbers served. Activity sequencing shows how activities unfold over time. Phases organize activities into stages. Initial outreach and enrollment might occur in Phase 1, intensive services in Phase 2, transition and follow-up in Phase 3. Dependencies identify activities requiring others first. Staff training must occur before service delivery. Partnership development must precede referral activities. Recruitment must happen before programming. Intensity changes reflect how participant engagement deepens over time. Light touch awareness activities might precede intensive skill building. Initial assessment precedes individualized intervention. Timeline integration aligns activities with your project timeline. Month by month or quarter by quarter plans show when activities occur. This helps reviewers assess feasibility and helps you plan implementation. Here is a practical exercise to apply what you have learned. Step 1. List the core activities that directly serve participants. These are your primary interventions. Be specific about what you will do, not what you hope will happen. Step 2. Identify supporting activities that enable core activities. Staff training, partnership coordination, quality assurance, and outreach might be supporting activities. Do not overlook these, but keep them proportionate. Step 3. Describe each activity with specificity, frequency, and duration. Move beyond vague descriptions to concrete implementation details. How often, for how long, in what format. Step 4. Check that each activity connects to inputs and leads to outputs. Trace the logic chain. This input enables this activity, which produces this output. If connections are unclear, your logic model needs refinement. Let us summarize the key points from this lesson. Activities are defined as actions taken to produce outputs and achieve outcomes. They represent what your program does, the interventions that create change. Types of activities include direct services to participants, indirect services supporting delivery, outreach bringing people into the program, and administrative functions managing operations. Description of activities should be specific, including frequency, duration, and intensity. Vague activity descriptions undermine logic model credibility and make evaluation difficult. In our next lesson, we will explore outputs, the direct products of activities. Understanding the distinction between outputs and outcomes is crucial for logic model development and program evaluation.